There's a lot of things we can learn about area without actually doing any calculations. What happens to the area of a rectangle if we double its length? And one way to go about this is to just grab those values and calculate the area directly. But I want to show you how we can answer this problem without actually having to do any calculations. So we look at the area of the 3 by 5 rectangle. Well, if we double the length, so we still have 3 centimeters on the width, and now we have 10 centimeters on the length, what we see is we basically have the equivalent of 2 of the original rectangle. So by doubling the length, we doubled the area. Let's write that out. Doubled the area. So what would happen if we doubled the rectangle's length and its width? Well, let's again do a little drawing here. So what I'm going to do is, this is 5 centimeters. I'm going to sketch it out another 5 centimeters. And then we're also going to double the width, so we're going to increase it from 3 down to 6. And I'm just going to make a nice big outline of that square and see what, or sorry, of that rectangle and see what happened. Well, again, you can sort of see that by doubling the width and the length, what we've done is we've made 4 of the original areas. So we have quadrupled, or what we'll just say it with times. So we'll say the area is 4 times bigger, or 4 times larger. So by doubling both dimensions, we make it 4 times bigger. 2 times 2 is 4. Instead of making something bigger, we can also examine it by cutting it in half or making it smaller. So let's take this rectangle that's 12 centimeters across and let's cut it in half. So now it's 6 centimeters across. What did we do to the area? Well, you can see visually that we cut the area in half. So the area is half as big or as large. Now I want to show you that the same rules that we just saw for rectangles apply for a triangle. So let's double the base and height of this triangle. So now I've gone from one that's 2 units high and 2 units at the base to one that's 4 units high and 4 units along the base. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to see how many of those little triangles that we originally had fit inside the big one. So there's 1, 2, 3, and you can see there's an empty space where a 4th one would fit. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the area got 4 times bigger. So because we made both the base and the height 2 times bigger, it was a combined effect of making the area 4 times bigger. So what happens to the area of a 90 square centimeter triangle if we cut its height in half? Well, what we're doing is we're taking one dimension, the height, so one dimension cut in half is going to result in the area being cut in half. So what we could do is we could write this numerically as the area equals 90 divided by 2, or 45 square centimeters. So let's look at that rule for what happens if we double just one dimension, like just the length of a rectangle. The area gets 2 times bigger. What happens if we double two dimensions, like the length and width of a triangle, or the base and the height of a rectangle? Well, in that case, the area gets 4 times bigger. So what about the case of a circle? What if we double the radius of a circle? How many times does the area go up by? Well, let's take a look. Here's our original circle, which has a radius of, let's call it 2 centimeters. Well, now this new one, this bigger one, has a radius of 4 centimeters. And you can see that it definitely more than doubled. If I was to draw a second circle with a radius of 2 centimeters beside that first one, you can see that this bigger circle contains definitely more than 2, and in fact it contains 4 times the area. And now, even though we just doubled the radius of the rectangle, the radius of the circle, one way to understand that is that the radius sort of goes in all directions of the circle. So it's like we made the circle 2 times wider and 2 times taller. So it's like we did 2 dimensions, made 2 dimensions of the circle bigger. So the last example I want to show you is here we have a rug with an area equal to 12 square feet. And what would the area of a rug be that has 3 times the radius? Well, if doubling the radius would make it 4 times larger, well, tripling it in 2 directions, so we go from a little circle to a big circle, makes it, 3 times bigger times 3 times bigger in both dimensions or both directions. That means the area is going to be 3 times 3 is 9 times bigger. So the area is going to be equal to 9 times 12 square feet, which is 108 square feet.